11 games in charge, Alex Ferguson has already used 21 different players. But today's changes give his Manchester United a more familiar look. John Severbeck returning to the defence. In midfield, Norman Whiteside is also fit again, and Mike Duxbury continues to wear Brian Robson's shirt. And in attack, Peter Davenport is recalled to partner Frank Stapleton. Stapleton views Manchester derbies with a glint in his eye. 5 goals in his last 5 matches against Manchester City, including the one which gave United a draw at Main Road in October. Manchester City kept their lineup under wraps until just before the kickoff. Mick McCarthy, one of this week's flu victims, fully recovered to play in the centre of defence. In their midfield, Tony Grealish has also been ill, but he lines up alongside Neil McNabb and the versatile Steve Redmond. And without his top scorer Paul Molden, Jimmy Frizzell has gambled on 2 wingers, David White and Paul Simpson. And back at Old Trafford in City Blue is John Gidman, hoping to celebrate his 33rd birthday at the expense of his old club. But he nearly didn't make it here today. The car bringing him into Manchester broke down on the M56. He had to dash across a couple of fields and then was rescued by 3 United fans who insisted on watching today from the Stretford end, despite John's offer of complimentary seats. Referee Brian Hill from Kettering inspected the pitch at 8:30 this morning. It was a formality because industrial heaters have blown the frost out of the ground in the places where United's ailing under-soil heating hasn't been working. But it's very cold at kick-off time, and you just wonder whether the ground might crisp up as the game wears on. Here's Frank Stapleton. Mick McCarthy close to him. The early challenges are sure to be razor sharp. Like that one on Duxbury from Grealish. And Gidman ahead of Stapleton. Chris Turner is Manchester United's only fully fit senior goalkeeper at the moment. McCarthy. Here's Wilson. Warren getting the better of Varady again. Stapleton tried to guide it off with the chest, and at that chest height was the boot of Mick McCarthy. Indirect free kick for dangerous play. Contact with Stapleton around the trailing arm. Duxbury. Now Severbeck. Davenport, who hasn't really had an organised touch on the ball yet. And Duxbury was penalised, but McNabb had got his free kick. Just showed a little gesture of annoyance, which was quickly stamped out by Brian Hill, who arrived immediately on the spot. Olsen. Whiteside setting off outside him and now going ahead of him. And Grealish went in wildly. Strachan. Now Duxbury and Severbeck. Stapleton checking out for the deeper cross, but it wasn't a good one by Severbeck standards. Warren over the back of Varady, who wasn't trying to jump. And this kick by Garton, rescued by Strachan. It's nervy and it's tense. And here come United. Whiteside. 2 blocked him, but he's got another chance, and then Suckling denied him. But Norman Whiteside thought his first effort struck a Manchester City arm. It could hardly have been intentional if that was the case. But his second effort was clearly blocked by Suckling. good turn initially by Whiteside. He thought it struck a hand then. Strachan with the corner. Well met by McCarthy. City pushing out. Olsen trying to take them on. And then it's Redmond to the rescue, as he was fouled. Yes, but Olsen has been saying this week that he would very much like to stay with Manchester United when his present contract expires at the end of the season. Half an hour of frantic and tense endeavour, but no goals. Strachan had taken the free kick in the wrong place, but is still berating Davenport for not making a run. And in some ways he's right. Stapleton, that's the nuisance value, Davenport! And well saved, Perry Suckling. He had luck on his side as the ball broke loose. But Manchester City didn't detect Peter Davenport then. Olsen. And Redmond does the defending. Stapleton had been the nuisance value. It was well hit by Davenport, and Suckling threw out an arm to make the save. Given away by Moran. White trying to get up ahead of steam, but he was starting from too far back and handicapped himself out of it against Colin Gibson. Well, Jimmy Frizzell clearly sent Manchester City out here in a very positive frame of mind. They parried and they chased Manchester United. White. But although City have certainly held their own in midfield, David White and Paul Simpson haven't quite had the service that they might have hoped for to try and create chances. Gidman rolling back the years. Strachan. Good running from Stapleton, and City are caught here, but Clements came across to plug the gap. Davenport was unmarked inside Frank Stapleton. Clements just ate up the ground. Olsen taking the corner. We've had 30 seconds of stoppage time. Yes, but Olsen ran out of time before getting in his cross. A tight first 45 minutes with one real opening, which came the way of Peter Davenport. But Perry Suckling thrust out an arm and made an excellent save to protect the level scoreline for Manchester City. At half-time at Old Trafford, it's Manchester United 0, Manchester City 0. The last time City were at Old Trafford in the FA Cup was 17 years ago in the fourth round. They came here then as holders, and United took great delight in loosening their grip on the trophy with a 3-0 win. City here have kept up a tremendous level of commitment over the first 45 minutes, particularly in midfield. The test will be whether they can sustain that throughout. Redmond. Down from Simpson to Berardi. More on the defender. He lost his balance, but United kept the ball. Only for a moment. McCarthy and Stapleton making life difficult for him. McCarthy in the end had to play the ball the way he was facing, which perhaps suggests that it's getting a little slippery out there. Olsen. Nicely played by Duxbury for Stapleton, who wants some support, or does he? It hit Clements, who unaccountably gives it straight to Strachan, and the chip was interesting to say the least. Gordon Strachan remarkably hasn't scored this season, but he was close then. After the mistake by Clements, it was almost a pass from blue to red, and Strachan lifted it up, but not over Suckling. Both sets of supporters so committed, trying to lift their respective favourites towards a winning goal. Whiteside, and Suckling responds again. A young goalkeeper who's learning his trade, very much in the spotlight. Keep Manchester City alive again. Strachan. Olsen got back and was onside. Strachan. Davenport, City stretched. Davenport again. Came off Moran's knee. Retrieved by Strachan, struck by Garden. Corner. Perry Suckling in the firing line here. And it was a superb save from Norman Whiteside. Whiteside again, just too high for Stapleton, who's labouring a little. Simpson, the only player forward for City, and he's bought his side some time. Not for long. Clements' header. Then Garden for United, and here's Olsen. Whiteside. Redmond kept his eye on the ball when he was trying to make a challenge from a difficult angle. Could have given away a free kick, and it was good play not to. Strachan. Even the older hands are making mistakes for fear of doing the wrong thing in such a pressurised occasion. Clements was just shepherding the ball through, and Strachan was trying to catch the referee's eye as he fell. Strachan is still down at the other end of the field. White. No real help close at hand. Strachan making his way back. Can be very painful when you fall on the lower back. Terry Gibson, it seems, preparing to come on. Simpson. That was aimed for Wilson, but didn't find him. Strachan. Gittman finding himself in a central covering position again. Duxbury. Now Strachan. Possibilities here for United. Came behind Olsen. There's four forward with him, and Redmond made contact with the ball with the tackle, and even the Stretford end didn't bay for a penalty. Whiteside. Got to hit it with his right foot, but here's Davenport. And it's put in by Whiteside when they were stopping, wondering whether the referee was going to blow. City lost concentration for a fraction of a second. Because they thought they might have had a penalty there. Instead they have a goal. Whiteside, who's been in cracking form in recent games, his fifth goal in his last 7. Manchester United breaking through. 20 minutes into the second half. And a goal in keeping, really, with the shape of the match. A loose ball, summarily dispatched by the goal scorer on Song. It was the last act in which Peter Davenport was to be involved in the match, as he fell just before Whiteside scored. He's been replaced by Terry Gibson. 3/4 of the crowd of 54,295 in celebratory vein. But the place in the 4th round isn't secure for the Reds yet. Clements will look to drive on his team. Stapleton. Strachan! Close enough to have Suckling plunging to his left. It was a lovely touch from Stapleton to set him up. And Tony Grealish feeling the effects of his flu. Doesn't last the course. And Graham Baker, another midfield player, but one with more of an eye for goal, takes over. Gittman. Varane! No. And Imre Varane has a smile that turns to disappointment. Varane, who struck 2 goals on this ground 2 years ago in a famous win for Sheffield Wednesday in the 1st Division. Flicked it on, but the referee had blown. Chris Turner has his critics in Manchester, and he's close to a clean sheet in the Manchester derby. And he's a goalkeeper who responds in the most dedicated way to any adverse comments. Nobody works harder at his game. You can measure it now in seconds, the distance between Manchester United and a place in the 4th round of the FA Cup. And they've done it! Alex Ferguson wondered long and hard about whether to play Norman Whiteside as an out-and-out attacker in this Manchester derby. Well, he put him in midfield, but he still came up with a goal after 65 minutes to give Alex Ferguson a happy first taste of the FA Cup. A victory with not just the satisfaction of tremendous local pride in this most traditional of rivalries, but it also gives Manchester United some extra stimulus into the second half of the season. Defeat would have left little but the battle to stay in the 1st Division, and that's now the prospect facing Manchester City. Final score at Old Trafford, it's Manchester United 1, Manchester City 0.